The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everybody, I want to welcome you back this week. We're doing a repeat of last week. We had some, I want to say, technical difficulties. I would like to say technical difficulties, but the real reason is that I forgot to hit the show my screen. So that's why you could hear me but couldn't see the screen. So I'll take full responsibility of that. But I still want to go back and redo what we did last week because I think it's important. The other thing is I'm starting to get emails from folks saying, hey, can you cover these subjects because I would like to see that done. I really do like those if you'd keep sending those because that gives me more specific things that you'd like to see. So keep those coming. I appreciate it. We're going to look again this week. We're going to look at formatting Excel, working with lines and boxes. I'm glad we're doing it again this week because there's a few other things that I thought about during the week to even add to this one. So let's go ahead and do the 30-minute commercial here while people are still getting logged in. So today our agenda is going to be making lines and boxes show up in Excel. And it's really a misnomer because I'm going to give the secret away. Lines and boxes don't show up in Excel. And I'll show you how to correct that. But we do Crystal report training. We write Crystal reports using your data, which we build real reports from day one. So contact myself or Tom Zadell. And here's the information again. And here's our website. The website, Kaveh is our person that does our website. He does a great job, and it's up to date, and we're excited about that. So the webinars in the past are there. So let's go ahead and get started. Here's our more formatting about Crystal Report to Excel. Why do lines and boxes disappear when I export to Excel? How do I correct it? And that's what we're going to do. So let me pop off that one for a second. And let's open our report. Now I've already got 2 reports already built, and I'm going to show you how I did it. Well, I'm not going to show you how I did it. I mean, I'm going to go to Design tab here. I'm going to use the principles that I told you before. Is that when building a report I'm used for Excel, I'm going to put here's our object inside here, and here's our header, and they're both attached to the guideline on the left and the right side. So that's done all the way across. The next one, which is address 1, the object here is attached to a guideline on the left and the right side and all the way across. As long as you do it that way, you're going to have column A, column B, column C, column D, and column E. Now I'm going to preview this, and the thing is that I've used a box up here to color and do the background of my headers up here. So if I click on the header, notice here's a header that's 1 column high, or 2 lines high, another header, 4th header, and 5th header is 2 lines high. So I've kind of lined these up in the middle of the last one so they look good. And then I put lines in here to separate each one of these. Now, the reason, if I were going to make this report and use it in PDF, because I want to have lines on the outside, I want to have lines on the very bottom. Now, I'm going to show you how I did that. If you notice on the left-hand side how here's our header is bumped up against that line. This header is bumped up against that line. And if I go to the field here, it's bumped up against that line. It doesn't look good. Now, if someone were to rewrite that, it would probably look something more like this, to where your headers are off the line. I mean, the headers are on this guideline, but let me go to Design tab, where you have an extra guideline here. One guideline's to the outside of the box, or the box. Then you have your header here on the next guideline. Then you do the same thing to this one because it's left line, and same thing with city. So now it's off the side of the box. But the problem with this, when you go to export this to Excel, you're going to have column A here, column B, column C, column D, column E, column F. In fact, let me show what happens. Here's what you think it's going to look like. And then when I go to export this to Excel, I'm going to export to Excel application. You don't have to application. I'm doing it because I want to open up an Excel. I'm going to keep all the defaults and look what happens. I've got extra columns. I've got A, which is nothing, B, which is our data, C, D, and E. Notice that the boxes and the lines all went away. And that's not what I want to happen. I actually want to show the boxes and the lines. Well, and I gave away in the intro, you can't show a box or a guideline, or a box, or not a guideline, a line or a box, because they won't show up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this up a little bit. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the box. It won't show up anyway. I'm going to get rid of the lines. And I'm going to Design tab so it's a little bit easier to see here. I'm going to put a guideline up here at the very top just to help me line things up. And I want to grab every object inside the header. So I'm going to right click in the left hand side over here. I'm going to select all section objects. And I want to, this is the postal code's the highest one, and right click on it. I'm going to align the tops. And then I also want to be the same size as the postal code. So I'm going to right click. I want the size to be same height. And then since they're on this guideline, I'm going to move them up to the very top. So now since I have all these the same height and they're all lined up and they're attached to the guidelines, I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to do format objects. I'm going to do all of them. So the border is going to be left single, right single, top single, bottom single. Now you're asking me, why am I doing the left and the right? Well, sometimes as you go across these, even though you have, like, I could have the first one left and then the right on all these, and then, or actually have left on all of these except the last one will be open. I put left and right on the last object over here. Sometimes they hide, so I'll go ahead and select left, right, top, and bottom on all of them. And then I'm going to go to the background. I'm going to do a drop here, and I'm going to just select the color. So when I click away, notice how it had the same effect as I had a while ago. Well, the problem is I want customer name, address, and city on the next line down. So I'm going to double click. This is a text object, and hit enter and push it down to the next line. Same thing for address, push it down to the next line, and city. So now when I preview this, I need to do the same thing for state. I preview this, I now have it looks like I have a box and lines in like I had before. Well, let me go back. What happened to here? Let me delete that. It came back up. Same thing with state. Thing about state, we center line that. But notice how customer name is up against our line over here. We don't want that. This is a text box. So I'm going to click on the text box, go into edit mode, next to customer here. I'm going to hit just space a couple times and push it off the line. Same here, address 1 and city. Right, notice that we have, I wanted to put the line on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. Well, the thing is that since the line doesn't show up, let me delete that line. Go over here and delete the line over there. And let me push, I want all my objects inside detail all lined up again. And I want there to be a line on the left-hand side. So I'm going to right-click on customer name, format field. I'm going to go to border and put a line on the left-hand side. I'm going to go to postal code. I'm going to right-click on it, format field, and border. I'm going to put a border on the right side so it looks like there's a line over there. And since I have these really tight, oops, didn't mean to do that. That's a line I have at the bottom. I need to delete that. Now when I go to preview this, it looks like I have a line on the left and I have a line on the right. But the problem is on the left-hand side, see how my customer name is all bungled up against that? Well, I can, if I'm going to make this a Excel report, what I want to do is, I'm not going to do it like I do here on this other one where I have an extra guideline over here. I want to do it within a formula. So I need to take this data and push it off this line without having to move the object off the line. See, the object's on the line over there. I'm going to leave it there. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to create a formula called customer name. So I'm going to go up here, I'm going to right-click and select new. We're going to call this one customer name. It already exists. I've been playing with this. Let me go in here and I'm going to delete this like it's not there. So you think, well, I was just doing this off the fly. No, I'm going to go over here and right-click, select new. We'll call this one customer name. And then right now, if I were to double-click on customer name, it would be just like the field. It's on the far left-hand side. I'm going to go to the very end of this. I'm going to hit the quote, put 2 spaces, space, close quote. I'm going to put the ampersand inside here. So what I'm doing, I'm adding 2 spaces on the front of my customer name. So I'm going to save and close this. Now I'm just create a space here just for a second. I'm going to delete customer name that we have there. Notice my header is going to go away too. I'm going to grab customer name from our formulas and drop it over here inside the field. Now I want to make sure like customer name is the same height as address 1, so I'm going to highlight customer name formula. I'm going to highlight the field itself. I'm going to right click on address 1 over here and tell it to make it the same size or same height, and align tops just to make sure it's the same height. Now I'm going to close this up. Let's preview this just for a second. So now I notice that over here on the left-hand side, I haven't put my guideline over there, but notice how it's off the very edge. So I'm going to right-click on this field. I'm going to Format Field. I'm going to go to the border and give it a left border, single. Now when I preview this, notice how the line's over there and it's off the line. It's still one object. So let me go back up here. I'm going to click on customer name. I'm going to right-click on address 1 Format Painter and click it on customer name. I'm going to click on customer name header and address 1 and right-click on address 1. I'm going to make it the same height. Go back to address, align tops. Oops. It's not going. Let me move it up there to the very top. Okay, so I'm going to preview this, and notice how now I have my column over here, and let me go to the header up here, right-click on it, and push a couple spaces in there. Come on. Get that off the line. So now that I can still have the line over here, and I still have the data there, and it's not touching the left-hand side. Now I'm going to go to the very bottom. Notice there's no bottom down here. But I want a bottom, so I'll go design, and what I did, I've already made one. I'm going to my report footer here, and I want to press it. What I've done is I've taken a text box. And this text box, let me redo it. I'm going to delete this text box. I'm going to go up here and grab a text box, and I'm going to stick it down here at the very bottom. Push it at the very top of this section just so that it'll I've right-clicked on it, and I've formatted the text to have a border and on the bottom. So when I preview this, I go to the last page. I notice I got a little space in there, and that space is going to come from, it's not the very top of that. It needs to be as high in the section as it'll go. Oops. And sometimes, notice I'm trying to play with it. It's not going. There's 2 things that happen. One is Snap Your Grid could be on, and the other is that if I'll put a guideline in there and attach this to the guideline, then I can slide the guideline up there higher and not have to mess with trying to push the object up there. So now I'll preview, look at it. It looks like there's a square on there. It's all lined up. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the first page. I'm going to export this into Excel. So now I go to Excel. You have the borders, well, I said the lines around each of the fields. And if I go to the very bottom of this page, you're going to have the line at the very bottom. So it looks like it's boxed in. So I guess the easiest way to say this is one way of doing it, but the thing is that you can't use boxes or lines inside the report if you're going to export to Excel because they go away. So let me look, see if there's any questions. That's our session for today. Now I just want to let you know that next week we're not going to have a session. Hope you guys have a happy holidays. We're going to start this back up the week of the 9th. And like I say, if you have questions or if you have a topic you'd like me to cover, I love doing these things. And I love doing this live and showing you how this stuff can work. Just send me a request and we'll start putting together a schedule for next year. So thank you again, and let me go back to our PowerPoint presentation. And let me go to the last page there. So you can contact myself, Tom Zeidel, and that's the archive. So hey, Merry Christmas. You guys happy holidays, and we'll see you next time. We'll see you next year. Take care.